With vaccinations against the global health situation finally kicking into overdrive, it's looking as if vacationing in a foreign country is no longer just a dream of those affected with wanderlust. And with ports of entry all over the world slowly but surely opening their doors, an island vacation in Tahiti is just a few weeks away. But before we get too excited and hop on a plane, what are the best islands to visit in the vicinity of Tahiti? And what can you expect when you visit them? Well, whether you're in the process of planning your next trip to the French Polynesian island or just want to know more about one of the most beautiful places in the world, stay right where you are, as we're about to explore everything there is to do on the best islands of Tahiti. So strap yourselves in and get ready for some sun, as things are about to get tropical. But before we get into it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any of the new videos we post. Number 1. The main island of Tahiti. Since all international flights into Tahiti arrive at Fa'az International Airport, which is located on the main island of Tahiti, we suggest that you put some time aside for a complete exploration of the island, either at the start or towards the end of your trip. The airport is only a short drive away from the city of Paete, after all, which has quite a bit to offer as far as touristy things are concerned. The city of Paete has everything you could expect from an island city, from restaurants to essential services, but you'll also find quite a few island vendors spread across its landscape selling small knickknacks which are honestly perfect for gifts. So if you're one of those travelers who likes to walk away with some souvenirs, the city of Paete is where you will find them. An activity that quite a few tourists love to take part in is also offered on the main island, and it comes in the form of guided 4x4 tours and adventuring hikes up into the mountain. Since these are guided, you won't have to worry about getting lost, which is absolutely possible when staring at the lush vegetation that lines the island. That being said, the risk is well worth it, as there is nothing more mystical than standing at the summit of the hike and looking across the entirety of the island. It's only then you realize just how small you actually are. As to how you will be able to find guys to take you on a similar adventure, just stop by a local bed and breakfast or other places of residence, where brochures and flyers advertising similar adventures are aplenty. Number 2. The island of Moorea. Once you have your bearings and sufficiently explored the main island of Tahiti, take a 7-minute flight over to the island of Moorea, which has a lot to offer. And for those of you who prefer to stay closer to the ground, you can also find a ferry which takes around 30 minutes to reach the sister island. Better yet, mix it up a bit and experience both trips, as seeing the collection of islands from the air is just as incredible as seeing them from the sea. Something else to keep in mind here is, although the ferry is far cheaper, you'd have to factor in the taxi ride to the terminal as well, which causes the two trips to cost roughly the same amount. So if funds usually decide how you get somewhere, that type of thinking won't help you here. The island of Moorea is brilliant for those who love outdoor adventures, dramatic landscapes, and of course, authentic local culture. In fact, the sister island appears to be a lot less built up than Tahiti itself, which makes it feel as if you step through a portal and into an earlier time period before the island was ever influenced by the Western world, since accommodations on the island is a lot more relaxed, with those residing there both living and working according to what is known as island time. You'll need to take some time to get used to it, but since you'll be on vacation, this shouldn't be too much of an issue. Since the island is tropical, you'll be able to expect similar weather to what you did on the main island, which is mostly hot with bouts of torrential rainfall. You can always eat and talk to the villagers of the island when the rain is falling, but as soon as it stops, there are a number of incredible adventures to go on. Taking an ATV up to the mountain to visit some of the many pineapple farms is a definite must, followed by horseback riding. On the beach, there are also multitudes of hikes to choose from, each with their own specific views of the island. Suffice it to say, you'll have more than enough to keep you busy while spending your time there. Number 3. The island of Bora Bora. We also can't forget the island of Bora Bora, which is where the majority of vacationers travel to when deciding on Tahiti. And when stepping onto the island, you'll know why it is by far the most popular destination, as its crystal clear waters and overwater bungalows just can't be beat when it comes to luxury island stays. The majority of these luxury resorts also come packed with delicious cuisine and a variety of reefs to discover, which makes eating and snorkeling two of the most important activities that the island has to offer. There are quite a few luxury hotels in Bora Bora to choose from, so you definitely won't struggle for choice. Spending is a requirement when visiting one of these lodges or hotels, but you definitely get more than what you pay for in the form of island activities and easy to organize adventures. For more of a local experience, however, feel free to make a booking at the Bora Bora Pearl Beach Resort, which offers a very Polynesian experience. The food and turn-down service won't be just as great as the luxury resorts, but if you're one to want to save and embrace a culture, then these are the living quarters for you. Number 4. The island of Rangiroa. The next island on our list can be passed up if you choose to spend a lot of time at Bora Bora, but if you're trying to save money and want to experience the same activities that you would have otherwise had access to at the Bora Bora resorts, then the island of Rangiroa is definitely a must. If you're a lover of tropical fruit, you can always ask your guide to show you where the best wild coconuts and pineapples grow, as you haven't had an experience like cracking a wild coconut open and biting away at its fruity goodness. And if you really want to rock the island life, take some straws along so you can sip on fresh coconut water while you hike through the lush vegetation of the land. The island of Rangiroa is also one of the best islands in all of French Polynesia to dive, as the surrounding oceans are eerily calm and surrounded by a bunch of different species of marine life. There are also more than enough reefs to explore. Whether you choose to do so with oxygen tanks or snorkels, the experience will be a great one, and in all honesty, with the rate at which these reefs are being destroyed, you wouldn't want to miss out on the activity. Give it a few years and exploring the reefs might become a distant memory after all. There is also more than enough open beach to relax on while exploring the island, so be sure to take a towel and an extra change of clothes along, as you never know when you might want to go for a romantic swim with your partner after a long hike. And since less than 3,000 people permanently reside within this 558 square mile island, you are sure to feel like you have been washed up on an abandoned island, which has a tendency to make you forget about all the troubles you actually have back home. Number 5. The island of Raiatea. The island of Raiatea is another one that needs to be visited, especially if you have a love for ancient cultures, believe it or not. But Raiatea was actually the first island in the collectives of the French Polynesia to be inhabited by ancient Polynesian. You'd never say this when stepping out from the small airport, though, as immediately upon exiting, you'll be faced with a large group of vendors selling everything from freshly cut coconuts to sweet-smelling vanilla. So if you don't want to hike for a taste of the tropics, feel free to stop by the locals and buy as much as you want. The best thing you could probably do on the island is organize for a guide to take you around town. Probably the most famous one is Yoram Parente, the owner of the Polynesian Escapes Tahiti. What makes trips with Yoram so enjoyable is that he not only takes you around on the island in his truck, but also gives you a crash course in Polynesian history, which is plenty when it comes to Raiatea. One of the many historical landmarks on the island include the Taputa Puatea Marine UNESCO Site, which is a grassy spot from which the Polynesians first took off to discover what they could find beyond the horizon of the island. If not for them, Hawaii would never have been populated by Polynesians at all, and we would have no idea who either Lilo or Stitch were. And what makes ancient Polynesian history so incredible is that surprisingly, none of it was written down. The Polynesians of the island preferred to pass this history down through their children orally, either through lessons or songs and dance. In other words, hearing the history directly from one Polynesian just feels right and needs to be experienced. Number 6. The island of Taeaha. Last on our list is the island of Taeaha, which, although difficult to say, is definitely the place to be for anyone who wants to consider themselves to be a wellness traveler, since the only way to get to Taeaha is by boat. You'll be treated to a gliding ride across the ocean before docking at the end of a restaurant. And good luck not buying anything to eat there, as it smells far too good to pass up on. It is from here that you can head on over to your hotel, which is likely to be the Leita'aha's Island Resort and Spa. And honestly speaking, there isn't much else to do on the island of Taeaha, other than sit back and relax. You'll also be able to get some great distance shots of the island of Bora Bora here, which is only a few miles away from Taeaha. Just make sure to take some sunscreen with you, otherwise you'll look like a tomato by the end of the day. So what do you think of the islands of Tahiti? Let us know in the comment section down below.